You know, AI isn't some far-off future technology anymore. It's already here, woven into how we work, how we live, how our societies function. So, in this explainer, we're going to look past the headlines about the latest models and processing power. We're going to get into the deeper story, how this technology is fundamentally reshaping our world, and what the next 20 years or so might actually look like. So, let's start by getting a handle on the true scale of this change. First things first, we've got to frame this moment correctly. What we're all living through isn't just another tech update, like getting a faster phone. A lot of experts are starting to see this as something much, much bigger. This quote really just nails it. The thinking from leaders in the field is that AI is set to reshape our civilization on the same level as, say, the printing press. That invention completely changed how we share knowledge and organize ourselves. So the big question isn't if AI is going to innovate anymore, but rather, how are we going to choose to direct it? So, where do we feel this shift most intensely? Well, for most of us, it's in our jobs and the economy. This is really the front line of the AI transition. And honestly, it's sparking a huge debate about the future of human work itself. Okay, so this slide breaks down the two main arguments in this whole debate. On one side, you have the task automation camp. They think AI will take over the repetitive, data-heavy parts of our jobs. Things like drafting basic reports or analyzing spreadsheets. The idea is that this frees up humans for the work that needs real judgment, creativity, and empathy. But then, on the other side, you've got the job replacement view. This argument says that as AI gets more and more capable, especially in white-collar jobs, it won't just do tasks. It'll do entire jobs better and cheaper than people, leading to some serious displacement. This is the optimistic take, coming from one of the pioneers of AI, Jan LeCun. And the logic here is that human ingenuity is basically limitless. As technology helps us solve old problems, we just find new, more interesting ones to work on. And that creates whole new industries and jobs that we can't even fathom today. It's happened with every big technological wave in the past. But then you hear this, a really stark warning from his contemporary, Yoshua Bengio. The worry here isn't that we'll run out of problems to solve. It's about an insane concentration of economic power. I mean, what happens if just a handful of companies with super intelligent AI can dominate pretty much every market? The economic gains could all flow to a very, very small group of people, creating a level of inequality we've just never seen before. And look, this isn't just a theoretical argument. It's happening now. Government policies are already pushing the needle one way or the other. What you're seeing here are tax incentives in different countries for companies to invest in software and hardware. In a lot of places, these policies actually make it cheaper for a company to buy a new automated system than to hire a person or even keep a current employee. It's a subtle but powerful way this whole transition is being accelerated. Of course, this massive economic restructuring has a very personal side. This transition isn't just about jobs and numbers on a screen. It's having a really profound psychological effect on all of us. And this is a question we all just need to sit with for a moment. When the ground is shifting under your feet this fast, what does that actually do to your sense of security, to your identity, to your mental well-being? We're actually starting to get a vocabulary for these feelings. There's technostress, which used to be about getting too many emails, but now it's this much deeper anxiety about AI. Then there's this challenge to our self-worth. I mean, when a machine can do your job faster, it's natural to start questioning your own value. We're also seeing a real loss of agency as we hand over more of our critical thinking to algorithms. And all of this is wrapped up in this general fear of being left behind, this anxiety that your skills are about to become obsolete. The mental health impact is very real. This quote, for me, just captures the core of the psychological challenge. The real danger here isn't some sci-fi fantasy about robots becoming conscious. It's that in our rush to use these amazing new tools, we might start to diminish ourselves. We might offload our critical thinking, our creativity, our resilience, and in the process, become a little more machine-like ourselves. So, this brings us to our systems. If the way we work is changing, and even the way we think is changing, then it stands to reason that our institutions, especially education and how we govern, they have to change too. Our whole education system was basically built for the industrial age, an era of stable, static knowledge. Well, that era is over. As this slide lays out, the value is shifting. It's moving away from what you know and towards how you think. Rote memorization is becoming less valuable. What's becoming crucial is the ability to evaluate information, to make sense of complexity, and to connect disparate ideas. Education is becoming less about delivering content and more about developing humans, where being able to learn and adapt throughout your entire life is the new default skill. So, how do we manage this incredibly powerful technology on a societal level? Well, the key concept everyone's talking about is guardrails. A good way to think about them is like the bumpers in a bowling alley. They're the rules, the policies, the points of human oversight that keep the AI system aimed at a good outcome. This isn't about stopping innovation, it's about steering it. Real AI governance isn't about control, it's about responsibility at a massive scale.
And these guardrails are just so crucial because the future isn't something that's just going to happen to us. It's something we are all actively building right now with the choices we make about how we design and use this technology.
When you step back and look at all the research, you can sort of see three broad scenarios taking shape for the next couple of decades. The best case scenario is thoughtful adoption. This is where we use those guardrails well and make sure AI really serves collective human interests. Then there's what's probably the most likely path, fragmented acceleration. It's messy, it's unequal, a world where the benefits and the harms of AI are spread very unevenly. And then, of course, there's the worst-case scenario, unchecked exploitation, where we either lose control to bad actors or to the complexity of the systems themselves. And ultimately, after all the talk about superintelligence and autonomous systems, we have to remember that the technology itself is not what's going to decide which one of these paths we go down. We decide. Human agency is still the most important variable in this entire equation. The policies we put in place, the kinds of schools we build, the ethical lines we refuse to cross, those are the things that will determine which future we actually get to live in. The story isn't written yet. And so that really leaves us with this final, vital question to think about. In a world where an AI can write poetry and create art and solve incredibly complex problems, we have to decide what parts of being human are non-negotiable. What are the skills, the values, the connections that we have to intentionally protect and cultivate, not just because they have economic value, but because they're essential to who we are?